Hey everyone, welcome to another Fireside Chat for Atheneum. I know it's been a little bit of time. I do apologize. Busy schedules makes it sometimes difficult, but we look forward to getting back to a steady pace. I'm joined again with Marshall, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the platform today. And wanted to welcome Marshall, and thanks for being here again.
Yeah, appreciate it, Marcus.
Yeah, so a lot's been going on. I'm sure everyone's been paying attention, whether it be our project or the overall market. Or the space in general. There's a lot of things happening. And so I wanted to focus a little bit more on the platform today, as well as how that plays for the markets in the future. And with that, my biggest question, I'm sure you guys are wondering as well, is Marshall, where are we at with the platform? How are things looking? How are things going? I know it's definitely not silent, even though it might appear so sometimes. There's a lot being done, but if you wanted to kind of give us some light on where we're at.
Yeah, most definitely. So first thing I just want to share with you guys is within the last few weeks, we put out a Discord message to our community looking to add an additional full stack developer to the team. Literally within a span of a few hours, somebody messaged me and said they were interested. And so we interviewed them. And so now we have 2 full stack developers working on this platform, which I'm very excited about. And we're beginning to see some really promising progress. And so one thing our developers are working on right now is the actual kind of setting up the basics of the platform itself. So whether it's the back end dashboard or the front end and how they interact with each other. So I just want to show you guys what the back end dashboard looks like. So if you guys can see my screen, Marcus, can you see my screen?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So what this is, sorry, one of my modules is kind of in the way. So what we're seeing here is the back end dashboard of the platform. While this is just a screenshot, there's a lot of different functionality here. So just looking over it real quickly, this will be your main link to your dashboard. It'll show your courses, maybe a course overview, and you can actually scroll down. There's more stuff down here, but you can scroll down and see, maybe like a calendar, what's upcoming. So you can see right here, you can see your timeline, any additional private files that might be associated with your courses. And we're also going to have badges available. So, based on, you've completed your first course, you are a 1 course earner or something, just cool stuff like that to give people that sense of accomplishment as they're working towards their course completion. They're also earning on the platform along the way. So over here on the left side, you have calendar. Right now, this is under an administration account. So a lot of, you can see this right here, it says site administration. A lot of this stuff does have to do with the admin side of things, but as we begin adding the role functionality of instructors and students, there will be different options for you. So when you go to calendar, it'll pop up an entire calendar. You can see, on a monthly basis or even an annual basis, different schedules you might have. So that'll come in handy when we have mentoring and tutoring. So, if you have a session scheduled, so let's say you're an instructor, you are doing tutoring on the platform, you can utilize the calendar to know what upcoming sessions you have scheduled with students. So that'll be really handy. And then there's actually on this arrow, I can't click it because again, it's a screenshot, but on this arrow, this will provide a lot more options. It'll show you, different account settings and maybe different achievements, that kind of thing. So we are beginning to visibly see some progress. I'm very excited about it. It's very encouraging. And, hopefully as we continue progressing in the next weeks, I'll begin to share more of what the platform looks like. Again, right now it's a very basic form because we're still more working on the functionality versus the design, if that makes sense. But as we continue, we'll begin to prettyify, if that's a word. We'll begin to make it look better as we move forward.
Yeah, definitely. I think something that's pretty fascinating is this kind of reminds me of the kind of old days of whether it be Google, Facebook. It's real simple design. The points are put across. It's easier to understand where things are headed. Yeah, there's not a lot of flash, bling. It's not necessary. We're getting started with the bare bones, and that's what I like. And I'm sure everyone else will have respect and definitely looking forward to where this is headed.
Mm-hmm. And you can also see right here where my mouse is. If you can see my mouse, Marcus, that you have your notification options. So like, let's say you have a new student enrolling, you'll have that little bell notification pop up. And then also right here, you can actually message your students back and forth. So there'll be a messaging option within the platform itself as well. So that's also something that's really cool.
And something that's kind of neat that's just being realized right now for me is this kind of reminds me of I don't want to say a Facebook, MySpace, but it has that look, a marketplace look of where we're all at, where people are used to and comfortable, where it's not necessarily a place just to take courses, but also possibly in the future share with people where we're at or what you're doing. Kind of is the feel it gives me is I'm comfortable already without even knowing how to use it, and that's what I think is going to be very important for the overall platform.
Yeah. So even, maybe let's kind of brainstorm a little bit or dream a little bit. So what if this platform began to be utilized by public schools? And so you have your one class where you have, if you grew up in a small town like I did, I had 20 or so students in my class. It wasn't a huge class. And so having a messaging functionality, what if you have an entire class that's, or a group project or a class project, you have that messaging functionality to work back and forth on specific projects. So this is something that could grow into not just, as we said, allowing instructors to provide these courses that they create themselves. What if this is, working towards incorporating actual public institution capabilities? Because, and this is something that Joel and I, so Joel is our chief strategic officer. Joel and I had a conversation that the issue we find with a lot of these other platforms is that they're actually trying to fight against I guess you would say that the modern day educational institution, or no, that's not the right word. I guess you could say a educational system, not necessarily just an institution, but the system itself. You have platforms that are actually fighting against the system. And so what we identified was, what if we could create a platform that actually complements the system? And I think that's where we find greater adoption. I don't know if we talked about this in the last Fireside Chat.
Yeah, I don't think we did, but that's actually a good point, is kind of enhance and build upon the current system. I know so many projects want to be the new this, new that, and let's fix these problems. But at the same time, it's not that education is the problem we're trying to fix. We're just trying to fix the way that the education and knowledge flows.
Yep. So what if we could present the platform in a way that improves the inefficiencies that are found in the modern day system? And so, what if there are any specific inefficiencies within a public school, whereas, you might have a student who's missing multiple days at a time, maybe not necessarily just plain hooky, but they're actually sick or something like that. What if they could still participate in school while they're at home? And so, you have teachers within the public school who could submit courses, or maybe the public school itself submits the courses, and then the student who is at home has the ability to follow along with what's being taught at school. And so there's a lot of options when you're doing a platform like this, and we're beginning to find out that complementing the current system to improve its efficiency through blockchain is going to opens up a lot of doors, because I think that's really where your market adoption comes in, is when you begin to complement the everyday consumer and complement what they're doing every day. Whereas, you might have a project that's, trying to fight against it, and there's this huge pushback, so I don't know. That's kind of where we're at right now, is we're beginning to actually think about how we could improve the system itself, not necessarily fight against it by being decentralized and by saying, oh, we're all blockchain, we're not a centralized organization, that kind of thing. Which, at its core is great. It's the principles of blockchain in and of itself, but completely fighting against the current educational system itself, I think, is going to be an uphill battle. And I think it's a battle I don't think it's a hill we need to die on. So I feel like I got off on a rant there, but
No, it's all good info.
that's kind of where our vision is turning right now for the platform. So it's really exciting. We do have a few other things we have in the works I'm not really at liberty to speak about yet, but some pretty exciting things. We are looking at some storage options, being able to house gigabytes, terabytes worth of data, especially with proof of learning and with the fact that people are going to be uploading, terabytes worth of video, instructional courses, books, documents, all that kind of thing. So we're looking at a few options, and so hopefully those will flourish here soon. So some pretty exciting stuff right now.
Yeah, and it's what's neat about this is I hope people will start to understand that we're moving along a lot faster than many people might realize. Mm-hmm. And a question I know I have, I'm sure other people do as well, is where does the release come into play? Is there a plan to do an alpha, like a beta? Is there going to be a pre-launch just to a couple people to test it and kind of try to break the overall platform to see how it works efficiently? What's the plan for that?
Yeah, so according to our roadmap, I placed the alpha release in Q3, and with the alpha release, it would be more like an invitation to participate in the platform and bug check, essentially. What works, what doesn't work. How do you like this flow? Does this flow work for you? So on and so forth. So we are, Brian has been working on a prospect list of instructors who would come on board and begin to test out that functionality within the alpha release. And so again, we're expecting Q3. So Q3 is not that far away now. Q3 begins in July, so it could be released here in the next few months as far as the alpha release goes. So that's really exciting. I think once that happens, we're providing an instant additional utility, not just the buying and selling of Atheneum on exchange, but you give Atheneum a utility to actually buy something of value, if that makes sense. And even think of it this way: what if there are multiple ways to utilize that educational utility? So you're not just buying a course on a platform. What if we could form partnerships with educational institutions to where people could purchase their books on campus with Atheneum, with the Athena coin? So you're providing kind of more of a universal utility to the actual coin itself rather than just on the platform. But I think once we start providing that utility, I think we're going to, obviously, one, see an increase in transactions, and two, I think we'll see an increase of volume itself. So that's also very exciting, especially as we enter, we're entering this bull market that's been happening as of late.
Yeah, it's funny you just brought that up, because that was actually that was my next point. Is so everyone, I hope you guys realize that our platform is being built and the project's definitely still moving along, but that doesn't necessarily mean that other projects aren't doing the exact same thing. And so something that I want to just briefly, enlighten everyone is, if you're not already doing it, if you have been doing it in the last year, it's still not too late to just really find the project, whether it be us or someone else. It's your job to do the research and make sure that you understand where it's going. But this is still a great time to really get in and be either a holder or a user of the platform and really see where it goes. Because I would hate to have people, and I know it's going to happen, it always happens, but if we do get to a point of a full-on bull market and everything's exploding, you're going to have people talking about they should have done this, should have done that. So it's always a great time to start now, and it really comes down to the education aspect, which is kind of what we're doing anyway. But it doesn't matter, again, whether it's our platform or not. It comes down to, you know, staying with it and supporting it and seeing where it goes. But I like the fact that, at least for our project, and I've seen a lot of others, it's slow and steady. It's not necessarily a race. It's about creating something that's efficient and runs and is fluid. And I think that's what people hopefully will get to understand. And I know we've had some of our price action spike a little bit. Yeah, we're not talking a large quantity, but for me, it doesn't matter. It still shows that there's overall support. And I think that's what is fascinating, at least for me.
Yeah, and it's very encouraging. You know, I would say towards the beginning of May, we started seeing an increase in volume. One of those days specifically, for the first time in Atheneum's history, as far as a tradable asset, we reached over $10,000 worth of 24-hour volume. While that's like a minute amount in comparison to, you know, much larger projects, that's a milestone for us. And I think we need to, you know, as a community, appreciate that we are in fact growing. We are gaining traction. We are gaining progress. Especially we're coming into the right time to release a platform just as the bull market is beginning to start. You know, I don't think, and Marcus, you and I were talking about this before we started recording, but, you know, I don't think we'll hit the $20,000 all-time high just yet in 2019. I think that is at least a year away, if not maybe 2 to 3 years. But, you know, we are coming in at the right moment. I would say the crypto market is beginning to, I think the public is beginning to take some serious notice again, now that the Bitcoin is coming back up. You know, as of today, we're back up to $8,000 per Bitcoin. You know, there are some other projects that are beginning to gain some serious recognition. So we're, you know, all as a crypto community as a whole, not just Atheneum, but cryptosphere as a whole, we are beginning to make strides in the world itself. There are so many great projects out there that are doing some honestly pretty amazing things. And, you know, it makes you want to go and start like 5 more at the same time, which I know would not be an efficient use of my time, but, you know, it just makes you excited. So, you know, we're definitely releasing the platform at a great time. We're making progress at a great time. I think the next 2 or 3 years will be pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's I couldn't agree more. And it's funny, I'm not trying to promote them necessarily, but little things like, I think Google's Bitcoin searches hit a 13 or 14-month high. I know I told you, but I believe 60 Minutes is featuring cryptocurrency and Bitcoin in general. I don't know if it's tomorrow or sometime this week, but it's little things like that I like to look for. I know the price, it's kind of how it is, but for me, it's a little irrelevant at the moment, just because I've been in the space long enough, and I think you are as well, that if you really pay attention to what's actually being done in the background, not what's in the news, because what's in the news isn't necessarily what's being built. If you really find the projects or you find the people, it is incredible. I'm very excited. I think that the bull market in 2017 was about the price, but we haven't even hit the projects and the partnerships being formed, whether it be, you know, things like VeChain, with their partnership with, I believe, BMW, or there's all these other car companies. It's happening. It's exciting. I think it's going to happen so extremely fast because of the way technology moves, whether it be, you know, Moore's Law, things like that. I don't think we even have seen the full-on stride. I mean, again, think about how many people are actually in this space. It's minuscule compared to either traditional stock market tech companies. And that's what, again, excites the heck out of me, because I know it's coming. I know you know it's coming. People that really dedicate it, and price comes with popularity and overall functionality of a platform. And it really is going to happen. And again, with the 2020 happening, if you guys do your research and statistically look at what goes along with that, there's a lot coming, whether it be, you know, this year, like you said, 2019, I still think it's going to be kind of a neutral year. I could be completely wrong. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm still learning myself, but again, that's what's exciting, is you just really got to just kind of hold on and really make sure that you are the one that's doing the research.
Yeah, that's right. And interesting, Marcus, I actually just want to show this real quickly,
Yeah,
which is, this is such an interesting yet very encouraging aspect of what's going on right now in the market. And this is just kind of part of technical analysis. So if you can see my screen, we're looking at coin market cap, and this is a total market capitalization of all cryptocurrencies combined. And so you can see this, this early 2018 high where we hit, just above, I believe that was the time we hit just above 20,000. And then, obviously the market tanked. But one thing I want you to notice is the 24-hour volume that's going on here. That's about 44 million USD in volume. I'm sorry, that's 44 billion, excuse me. And you can see that the market drop off. But the other thing I want you to notate is how much volume we've been having even in what's going on right here. This is accumulation is what's going on. And so just looking at the differences, this volume is much higher than even the peak we had in early 2018. And so to me, this can be really exciting here within the next few months, because we are having higher volume within a 24-hour period than we did at our all-time high. And so I think here within the next few years, we're going to see crypto explode, especially as the projects that have been working on the use cases over the last 2 years begin to finally make their way into the market.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
So it's pretty exciting.
I didn't even notice the volume today. That's ridiculous. And what's funny is people are going to say the volume doesn't follow the price. Well, maybe that's because people are actually starting to be a little smarter this time. That's going to end when the bull market starts. It's all the people that have no idea what they're doing that come in. But as of right now, regardless if it goes down, I'm kind of tired of if it's the bottom end. I don't really care. I'm going to do my dollar cost averaging because that's stress-free for me. And I'm just excited because, again, the price is where it's at, but you got to look at what's happening in the background because it is unbelievable. There's so much going on. There's so many people saying things that are flipping sides. I think I just saw a video a few hours ago of it being mentioned by accident, I believe, between trade deals with China. And it's like, the words are flowing, the info is flowing. People are starting to realize they can do their own research and things like that. And the next decade is going to be a wild ride. There's so much going on. There's so much coming. And if you really understand and really stick with your kind of gut, I think you know deep down where this is going as well.
Yeah. And if you look at the specific part that I have highlighted, so we peaked at 261 billion market cap, which is a third of where we were at in January 6, 2018. But if you look at the 24-hour volume, we are more than double that 24-hour volume that we hit in January 2018. So, I mean, what we might see happen right here, and this is just a little bit of technical analysis, you might see a little bit of a double top happen. So from here to here, you might see a double top here, and then maybe retrace a little bit, maybe just below this. But I think we are still in the beginnings of another bull market. So it's very encouraging to, as a whole, know that we've reached kind of, well, you can even see right here, that's 120 billion. I mean, that's just amazing. There's so much going on right now, 121 billion, 24-hour volume. So the market's definitely moving. That's for sure. So.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And kind of just the best way I think to close this all out is my big question to everyone right now is going to be a simple fact. In 2017, projects that are dead now are completely irrelevant or just straight scams. Look at what their percentage rises did. Now look at where our project is, take into account the slow but steady pace. And if you are people that are selling right now, that is, your business, you're doing what you believe you need to do. But at the same time, my other question is going to be, if you are someone in the project, are you staking either on your own personal computer or through a service? Or do you have master nodes that are doing the same thing? Because those steady rewards, it's kind of a long game, comes down to, do you believe in the project? And I would hate to have people, again, that have Atheneum, have the coin, but aren't doing anything with it, not making any rewards, and then possibly won't even use it when the platform is released. So
Yeah.
again, you got to make sure that you understand those questions and that you are preparing yourself for whether it be this year, next year, or whenever it might be. It's all down in your hands. So I think this is another great chat, Marshall. I appreciate it. I like the fact that we talked a little bit about the markets, mainly because those reflect us regardless of where we're at in the platform. It's how it is. Everything's connected.
And something I'm actually just looking at right now is the percentage of total market capitalization by dominance. And one thing that's very interesting about this chart is that you actually, compared to how much Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin in January 2018, and even before that, Bitcoin, for the most part, dominated the space, usually having at least 80% of the total market cap. But what we see in more, especially over the last year, is we've seen the market cap not get above 60% for Bitcoin, and it's beginning to diversify into other projects, especially the ones who are beginning to make strides, specifically like Dash, or and whether your opinion or good or bad of a specific project, the market capitalization does say something, so, Litecoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, like these different projects, they're also sharing a larger portion of that total market cap, than we did, 2 years ago. So, and I think it's just coming with the maturity that's coming into the space. But anyway.
Yeah, hey, you're completely right. And I know I'm excited, and it just comes down to, you got to do your own research and you got to keep building. But with that, thank you again, Marshall, for coming on and talking about this. Actually, it's given me a couple ideas to do some more spin-off shows. I know I have one with Brian, the person who's in charge of marketing, and we're going to do a one for that and release it, and I look forward to it. But again, thanks again, Marshall.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Marcus. Have a good day.
Thanks, you as well.